Hello, welcome to the Y of San Francisco, Classrooms for All. My name is Reesha, and today we're going to be learning about the moon because it is the Lunar New Year. And this is my way of helping all of us connect to nature everywhere, no matter where we are, even if we're inside at home. So if you want to follow along and you want to learn about the moon with me and make some moon art, you can use some cardboard. Maybe if you have paints or markers, you can use takeout containers for your paints. And I'm going to be cutting a beet to use today. So if you want to do that too, you can use a beet or a potato or a carrot, something that will be round when you cut it open, maybe an orange or an apple. You'll need a knife, a cutting board, and of course permission from your grown-up. And since we are doing this today in San Francisco, I'm coming to you from the Embarcadero area of San Francisco. I want to start this activity by acknowledging the land that I am on, and this is the homeland of the Ohlone people. And if you would like to learn more about the Ohlone people, or you would like to learn more about the land that you are on, if you're in a different place, you can go to native-land.ca. Okay, let's take a deep breath together. The first step of connecting to nature everywhere is connecting to your breath and connecting to the air that we can breathe. Did you know that on the moon, the atmosphere is very, very different? You can't take a deep breath on the moon. That's why astronauts need their suits. It's also a totally different temperature, sometimes ranging hundreds of degrees hotter and hundreds of degrees colder in one single day. So let's take another deep breath together. I'm so glad we don't live on the moon. It'd be a very difficult place to live. Now the moon is actually a satellite of Earth. That means it orbits our planet. Wow, I'm going to cut open this beet, but before I do, I want us to appreciate that it has some of its leaves still attached. It has its little root coming out. If you buy beets with the leaves attached, you can cook them up just like spinach or chard. And when you cut off the ends, you can save these in your freezer until you have a full container full of food scraps, and then you can actually use those for soup. There we go. We don't need this knife anymore. Put it safely away. Wow, what a perfect round circle. So special. Interesting. Wow, look at that little moon print. I wonder if it will be different if I dip it in a little water or a little paint. So I have here this little plastic to-go container that came with some of my food. A lot of people are getting food delivered at home right now. So this is a great way to reuse some of your materials. So I have a little paint in there. I'm gonna stick my beet inside. And I can make some little full moon prints. Wow, the color of the beet juice mixed with the paint is really interesting. The moon is 4.5 billion years old. My goodness. It's only a quarter the size of the Earth. But because it's such a large, huge mass so close to our planet, it actually has a gravitational pull that affects our oceans and other living things as well. So one way for us to connect to nature is to notice this biggest satellite that's closest to our planet. Now there are man-made satellites that are closer to the moon, but the moon is a natural satellite to our planet Earth. It does not travel in a perfect circle around our planet. It makes an ellipse. That means it's kind of like a squeezed circle, a circle that's been squeezed in the middle. Sometimes it passes closer to Earth because it's on the squeezed part of its path, and sometimes it passes farther away. Because our planet is on an axis, on a tilt, the way we experience the gravitational pull of the moon combined with the gravitational pull of the sun can be very different depending on the time of year and where on the planet you are. If you're in the northern hemisphere, then you experience winter during the end and beginning of the Roman calendar. So that means at the end of November, December, into January, February, that's winter for you if you're in the northern hemisphere. That also means that because you're on the northern part of the planet, you are tilted, you continue to be tilted towards the sun on our path around that closest star. Because of the way the sun pulls us and pulls water on our oceans as we turn, sometimes it can combine its gravitational pull with the moon, making really, really high tides and really, really low tides. Now, what about when the moon is in different phases? What's the deal with that? Because the moon is traveling around the Earth, called an orbit, while we are turning and going around the sun, it sometimes looks like part of the moon is covered by a shadow, giving the effect on the moon to be that part of it isn't there at all. The moon is always there. The moon is always whole. But its shadow can sometimes make it look like it's totally disappeared. The shadow of the Earth on the moon. The light that we see on the moon is actually only reflected light that comes from the sun. And it takes 27.3 days for the moon to go around the Earth one time. But in that time, every day the Earth turns once. It takes 24 hours for the Earth to turn on its axis one time. Do you know how long it takes for us to go all the way around the sun? How many times do we turn when we go all the way around and back to the beginning spot? We turn 365.25 times. That means it takes us 365 turns to go all the way around the sun. And in that time, the moon is orbiting us. Okay, let's check in with our moon calendar. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. Check this out. These all look a little bit different from each other. How many did I make? I didn't even count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 27. Okay, this is exciting. Once this dries, I can actually label each one. And I could label them according to whether they look new, which means they look empty completely. That's what we call a new moon when it's not there. Or a full moon, when the light from the sun is fully illuminating the entire surface that's facing us. So we can see the whole thing because light is shining and bouncing off of it. But what do we call a moon that's in between? There's waxing and waning. A moon that is waxing is getting bigger and bigger, giving the effect that the moon is getting bigger in the sky. We can see more of it. When the moon is waning, it's after the full moon, and it looks like the moon we see in the sky is shrinking, 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 shrinking until there's no moon at all. That's the new moon. And then it starts waxing again, looking like more and more of it is starting to appear in the sky. When it's just a little sliver, that's called a crescent. Maybe you've had a crescent roll before. It has that crescent shape that we see in the moon when the moon is almost totally gone in the sky. The sliver is called the crescent. Once it gets to more than halfway, it's called a gibbous. The gibbous moon is more than halfway. So you can have a gibbous moon when the moon is waxing or when the moon is waning. You can have a crescent moon when the moon is waxing or when the moon is waning. But how do we know which it is? I have a little song for you. But to sing this song, it'll be helpful if we see a diagram first. So let's make a perfect circle to become our moon. How do we make a perfect circle? Well, we could trace something, like the lid from the container that this beet came in, or this container with the paint, but those are so small. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna use a thumbtack. And some string. You can use a shoelace or a bit of dental floss. And you can see there's a loop. There's a loop here. In the center of the loop, I'm going to pin the pin here into the cardboard. And then I have my marker. And I'm going to rotate the marker around the cardboard. I can also spin the cardboard underneath. Okay, look at that. Maybe I'll use a darker color. I think that will work best for us. That's great, we get to try it again. I'm gonna put my marker down and we can spin our cardboard underneath. It slipped a little, so it's not perfect, but that's okay. This is a great thing to try together. Okay, amazing. We have a circle that will work for us. I'm gonna put my thumbtack away. Okay, we have our circle. When it looks like there's no moon at all, looks like the moon is new. Maybe I'll draw a circle on this moon diagram. When there's no moon at all, it's totally black in the sky. That's called new moon. But when it's looking like a delicious slice of melon or a crescent roll, it's called a crescent moon. So that might happen like that, but it could also happen on the other side. And if it's more than halfway, it's a gibbous. So that's the orange. When it's more than halfway, it's a gibbous moon. Okay, you ready for the song? Where is the moon when the moon is new? It's a sliver on the right, growing bigger day and night. Where is the moon when the moon is round, rising as the sun is going down? Where is the moon when the moon is waning, fading to the left till there's no moon remaining, no moon remaining, no moon remaining. So we know from that song that when there's a sliver on the right, we know that it's a waxing crescent. The sliver on the right growing bigger day and night. The full moon actually rises when the sun is going down, and the moon sets when the sun comes up, when it's full. That's because the optical illusion that allows us to see the full moon from the bouncing light of the sun orients it in a way that allows us to see it when the sun is going down. Where is the moon when the moon is waning? Fading to the left till there's no moon remaining, no moon remaining. If you see a crescent on the left, that means that the moon is waning. If it's a sliver on the right, it's growing bigger day and night. If it's fading to the left, if it's a crescent on the left, it's waning till there's no moon remaining. Oh, so exciting. So that works for the gibbous too. If it's a gibbous moon on the right, it's growing bigger day and night. And if it's a gibbous moon on the left, it's waning, fading till there's no moon remaining. And that's how you can tell the phase of the moon, just by looking up in the sky. Friends, thank you so much for joining me for this art time. You can use your moon calendar to track the days that you see a crescent or a full moon or a gibbous. You can actually trace them or color them in or dark them out according to the next moon that you see. Or if you see one that looks exactly like this, you can put the date on it, or you see one that looks like that, you can put the date on it. What a fun way to keep track of the full moon. And what a wonderful way to honor the Lunar New Year, the year of the metal ox. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember that nature is everywhere. And if you'd like to see more classes, you can go to www.ymcasf.org/classrooms-for-all. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Did you know that YMCA of San Francisco never closed? When shelter-in-place happened, we could no longer provide in-person programming. We quickly shifted to provide youth and family programming virtually. As early as April, we started providing on-demand activities in our YMCA of San Francisco YouTube channel.
For this video, we're going to be making a geodesic dome.
Today, we're going to be making a hovercraft. The science around this activity is really awesome.
In addition, we have a regular schedule of activities for our youth and families to join live. We feature read-alouds, yoga, family Zumba, arts and crafts, drawing clubs, and more. So don't miss out on our virtual youth and family offerings. Visit www.ymcasf.org for more info and class schedules.